Really.
Here on an episode of the Players Circle. All right, man. This is a brand new deal. Our show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, that I'm starting, man. And I'm getting all my old former players on here to give y'all the real scoop on what it's like to play at the college level. All right. So, to all my old players and parents, man, I know y'all think I'm old and I've been out the game too long. And I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna get all the current guys to tell y'all what it's really like. They're gonna tell y'all about the experience, the goods, the bads, what to look out for, the women. Uh-huh.
We do that a lot.
The pitfalls, all that stuff, man. So look, I got one of my favorite guys on here. A guy that I coached in high school, man. Real good kid, one of the best athletes I've been around. Shawn Holton, man. What's going on, man? Look, introduce yourself, tell people who you are, where you from, all that good stuff, man.
What's good? I'm Shawn Holton from Fort Worth, Texas. Graduated from Nolan Catholic High School. Went to Incarnate Word, graduated from there, and then was able to play my last year at Texas State. First ever bowl win in Texas State history. You know what I'm saying? Back-to-back Southland champions at UIW. So we handled a lot of business throughout the career.
I got you. So look, man, we met up at the Nolan Catholic, man, where I got to coach you over there. So look, let's do this. Let's start by this. Let's start with the recruiting process. All right. So, you're at Nolan, you transferred over there. You have schools coming, approaching you about playing, offering you scholarships. What was the recruiting process like? What made you ultimately pick Incarnate Word? How did you go about that process?
I mean, the recruiting process, man, it was long. I mean, it was frustrating at times, but I mean, at the end of the day, it was a blessing. Honestly, just being able to talk to coaches and earn scholarships and be able to put your best foot forward each time, because each impression you make on the coach, that's the biggest one. You know what I'm saying? So being able to have those coaches come through and talk to you, Coach Bowden, Coach Witt, and being able to get my foot in the door, I mean, that was great, man, and just seeing all the offers come through, like ain't no better feeling. So I mean, I ultimately chose UIW because I had a lot of FCS offers, and I had the military academy, and UIW was my only Texas offer. So I really ain't want to. I didn't want to go too far from home, so I stuck it out. Went to UIW. They're an up and coming program. They had a lot of good stuff going on. So I mean, that's probably one of the best decisions I made, I feel like.
Why is that? All right, man. So you're talking about, Incarnate Word, man. A lot of people haven't heard about it at that time. Like you said, it's up and coming. What made you choose that? I know you said you want to stay at home, but look, everybody wants to play the big time ball. Everybody want to be at Texas, Oklahoma, right? Tech, all that stuff. So the experience there. Touch on the experience of playing there. Touch on why you think it was a good decision. Just what was it like, man, playing? You don't want to call it a lower level because it's not. It's not like a Division II or anything like that. But when you're looking at the FCS level of football, man, what was the experience like, and why was it a good experience?
I mean, it was just a great experience because not only we had up and coming head coach Eric Morris, who was a great coach. He's at UNT now, handling his business. We had him there. Then of course we had Ricky Hunley, which was the guy who recruited me, the coach who recruited me. He at SMU right now, coaching cornerbacks. But they had just came off of winning the Southland for the first year, so there was already that type of motivation to get there. But going into an FCS program, like you said, lower level, I mean, that's really what it is essentially. Because, I mean, if you get around, you start asking people in public, like, oh, UIW or even Incarnate Word, they're not going to know what you're talking about. Like, the only people who are going to know what you're talking about are people who live in San Antonio. And probably the only people are the people who live in downtown San Antonio next to the university. So, I mean, just going there, I mean, it was a humbling experience, of course. It was a humbling experience. You get in there, the facilities ain't the greatest facilities, but man, it's work. Like we just had a group of guys who came in there for the same idea. They wanted to work, they wanted to win. And at the end of the day, the way we got UIW on the map, or we got people knowing about UIW, is winning. So I mean, essentially, it don't matter where you're at. At the end of the day, as long as you're winning, you're going to be remembered, and they're going to talk about you. So I mean, going to UIW and being able to do that, it was just bittersweet, honestly. And then I just feel like the camaraderie there, it was different from going to upper division school, FBS school, and stuff like that. So I mean, I really enjoyed my time there. Honestly, I made brothers for life there.
Okay, man. Well, you said bittersweet, so touch on that. What do you mean by bittersweet? Like what made the experience bittersweet?
Just like the development, man. Like it's like you really don't understand the process until the process is over with. You feel me?
Yeah.
So it's like it's like getting there like year one, year two. It's like you just working like, oh, let me get on the bus, let me do this, let me do that, and then by the time you look back at it, it's like, dang, we in the semifinals playing North Dakota State, like, but like that whole process is like from the day I stepped in there to the day I left, like I was really just pampering myself for that situation in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Yep.
I just feel like that whole process was just crazy, like I used to always tell the guys that my last year at UIW, like it felt like it was the last dance, like the Jordan documentary. Like we was
Right.
handling business throughout the year, and we just had that team. So like I just loved it, bro. I just
All
loved
right,
all
man.
of it.
So let me ask you this. So I know I get this question all the time from my players and my parents. They talking about the FCS level, and they say there ain't no players down there. Last time I checked, man, you were down there. 'Cause I thought you should have went to a higher Division One level school. You had people like, if I'm not mistaken, Cam Ward at quarterback down there. So there's players down there. What is the talent level like at the FCS level?
Man, the talent's the same, bro. I mean, really, the only thing you can say is the trenches. You feel me?
Okay.
Like, like I mean, and that's
Yeah.
essentially what the game is. Like, if you got a good D line and a good O line, like that's half of the battle you're
Yep.
experiencing. Really,
Yep.
75% of the battle. So, I
Right.
mean, really, just the trenches. I mean, luckily for me, I was able to be on teams that always had some great offensive linemen, great defensive linemen. I feel like that's why we're stemmed to be so successful. So I mean, that's probably really the only difference I see. But skill player wise, like I've been played a lot of great skill players at that level, and guys are always using that level to get film and
Hmm.
transfer out.
Right.
So, and like you said, like Cam Ward, like University of Miami now, Lindsey Scott Jr.,
Yep. Oh
one of the
yeah, I
finest
forgot
in
about Lindsey
Renegades, like
Scott. Yep, sure did. Yep, forgot about him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, man. So
Kevin
look.
Brown, CFL.
So all right, we come out of high school. All right, man. So all y'all think y'all know everything coming out of high school, and we get into college. All right, we get into the college life. Y'all are on your own. You doing all this, that, and the other. I know some of y'all want to wild out. We didn't have them conversations before. What is the college life like? What's the transition? So two questions. What's the transition from high school football to college football? What's the transition to life being on your own? So the first one, what's the transition like from high school ball to college ball?
I mean, ain't no jokes. Like, I mean, nowadays, I ain't gonna say nowadays because I ain't too old. But like when
Uh-huh.
you get in there, you gotta take it serious because you're competing with guys you don't even know their background or why they're there. So,
Mm-hmm.
and there's jobs on the line. At the end of the day, like people's jobs on the
Mm-hmm.
line, like your coach's jobs on the line, and your job's on the line. So, if you get in there and you just slack off your first year, your second year, like that might be the only opportunity you get because coaches don't have time to waste because they quick to get fired. So I feel that like
Yep.
if I see someone and I depending on them to keep my job and they not handling their business, then
You
you gonna be
got
the
to
first
you
one that
you
get
got to
fired. You
go.
feel me?
It is what it
Like you
is.
gonna be the first one. Hey, I got families to feed too, bro. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably just like the urgency. That would probably be the biggest thing I would say. The urgency, the discipline, and just the maturity you're gonna have to get going into there. Like I always knew we had. I mean, our coach DG at UIW, that boy, he was always on us. Like
Mm-hmm.
always on it. Didn't like let us rest. If we
Mm-hmm.
even if we wasn't talking, he'd be like, "Why y'all talking?" Like didn't let us
Yep.
rest. But like there's one thing about DG that got everybody working. Like at the end of the day, we knew his job was on the line. So
Right.
we worked, we grinded because we knew if we ain't handle our business, we ain't gonna be on the bus, we ain't gonna be playing, and that's essentially what you're there for. Like
Right.
you can't sit here and talk the talk or be on TikTok doing your thing if you
Mm-hmm.
ain't playing, bro. Like so, I mean, that was really just the motivation, and that was the little biggest difference I seen from the college to high school jumps, just handling your work and taking everything serious.
So what's the transition like, man? Just lifestyle, right? So you leaving home for the first time, man. You on campus by yourself. You living by yourself. What's that transition like?
Man, I mean, I'd say the biggest transition for that is players staying out of trouble and really just being around positive influences. Like since you don't got your parents there with you no more, and your coaches they can't be your babysitters. Because the way I
Nope.
seen it and the way I try to have it is like, why would I have my coach worrying about me on and off the field? Like,
Right.
if you want to be that dude and you want to be a good example or a team captain or a leader or someone they could trust on 3rd and 12, then you gotta be someone they could trust on everyday life. So I feel like the biggest thing from making that transition to college or from high school to college and just being on your own is just being able to handle your business appropriately and manage your time and be organized. So that was probably the biggest thing I took away from it.
So let me ask you this: what's the biggest pitfalls, man? Now I got hundreds of stories, man, from my college time all the way to my NFL time. All right, so what's the biggest pitfalls you saw in college, man? Where you knew guys had crazy talent, you knew guys could play in the league, but for whatever reason they couldn't get out their own way. What are those pitfalls that you would tell people?
Man, it's really a plethora of things, whether it's academically, not
Yep.
handling your business,
Yep.
your
That.
attitude, your effort, or just being a diva. I just feel like those are like the main things that come into play. Because if you're not in there academically handling your business and you fail in classes and you need someone to make sure you're always in classes and stuff like that, like you can't do that forever. Like, because I mean, at some point you gotta realize that you're a grown man. Like,
Yep.
and if you want to be
Yep.
treated like a grown man, you gotta act like a grown man. So like go to class, bro. Like go to class, sit in there, sit in the front, talk to your professor. Like you literally don't got nothing else to do. You feel me? So
Right. Straight up. Yep.
yeah, I feel like that's a big one. Then attitude, yeah, you're not in high school no more. You're not the best player on your team no more. Like as crazy as it sounds, like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
your coach not playing you. You're getting hold. Like everybody getting hold. You feel me? So like
Yeah.
I feel like all that type of
Yeah.
stuff just comes into play. Like
Yeah. We get
you
yeah.
gotta be
We
that
get
dude, bro.
nitty
You
gritty.
gotta be
Tell
the
them the truth, man. People need to know
dude.
what it's really like. You know what I'm saying? Tell them. Go ahead. Finish. My fault, man. I didn't mean to cut you off. You got me excited with that one. Go on and tell people. Finish your thought, man.
No, you good. So like, yeah, like don't come in here being a diva. Like everybody got recruited to the same school. You got recruited to do the same thing. So like, I say the ultimate thing is just be a guy that everybody likes. Like conform, man. Like try to bring people together. Like try to handle your business. Try to do the little things right. You know what I'm saying? If you do the little things right every day, then the big thing is gonna be easy to do. So I mean, that's
That,
probably the biggest thing I'd say.
so look, so we transitioning through, right, man. So we talked about your high school, we talked about your time at Incarnate Word, and now we finished the 4 years at Incarnate Word, and then we get into the transfer portal. All right, man. We end up going to Texas State. Okay, so when we talk about the transfer portal, man, talk about what that was like. What made you go into the portal? What made you choose Texas State? Just the emotions that come with it. What is that experience like, man? Being a player that was in the portal that had to sit and wait for a little bit of time, and then eventually got picked up. What was that like?
I mean, so I had Eric Morris my first couple of years, and then GJ Kinney had came through, played it, or he coached there a year. And then after that year, Kinney left, and that was the year I was graduating. And also, this is the most important thing. Before you think about getting into the portal and stuff, make sure you got your academic stuff lined up. Because the craziest thing would be going to college and playing football and leaving without a degree. Because that's really the one thing that's gonna be with you forever. Like you're not gonna play football forever. Essentially, like ain't no way you can play football till you're 50.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just not gonna happen. You ain't Brady.
Yep,
Not everybody's
straight
Tom
up.
Brady. So like
Right.
make sure before you get into that portal, like I understand like football is everything, football life. Like you want everybody want to bet on themselves, do this, do that. Make sure you get that paper and make sure you on your way to get that paper, bro. Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that gonna matter. But I mean, when I had gotten that portal, I just lost both two head coaches and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I really was thinking about it. I had a labrum surgery, so I spent that second semester just studying, getting ready to graduate that May, and then talking to my coach because I was transparent. You know what I'm saying? My head coach, the new head coach at UIW, who was a receivers coach that was promoted, Coach Kilo. I love Coach Kilo. Like great dude, understandable. I told him how I felt. He was trying to work with me, and I was working with him, but I always kept it transparent. So when I did hit the portal, I'm like, yeah, this is something I want to do. I ended up doing it, and I still kept in contact with him because relationships are the biggest thing too. Like you
Yes.
also got to make sure you amend your relationships. Like because a lot of people nowadays they be like, oh, I got ops. Like nah, like I'm gonna hit the portal. Everybody my op. Like no, it don't gotta be like that. Like if you handle your business the right way and you talk to people the right way and you carry yourself the right way, people are always gonna have respect for you. So I mean, throughout that whole portal process, I was in touch with my head coach. Whether I got an offer or not, I would let them know like, oh yeah, this school's talking to me. Like, what you know about this coach, this, that, and the third. Like, I always kept
Mm-hmm.
it 100 with him because I mean, if there was an opportunity for me going back to UIW, like I would want to do that too. Like, so
Exactly.
and me and my guys at Texas State, we used to call the portal that water, like, because
All
sometimes,
right.
hey, you might hop in that water, and some people gonna swim, but I know you see all the names in that portal. A lot of
Yeah.
people is drowning. A lot of people drowning and not getting another opportunity. So like you gotta make sure that's something you want for sure before you get in there. Like so you gotta weigh out your decisions, you gotta talk to people, and then you gotta feel comfortable with yourself doing it. Like honestly, like are you making the best move for what you want in life? Like what do you truly want? Because if you
Mm,
truly don't want to go
good.
and play in the NFL and do this and do that, like don't be going and what I'm saying, trying to put yourself in a lesser situation that you're in now.
Right.
So I feel like that's another big thing.
That's good, man. So look, what made you choose Texas State? All right, man. You get in the portal. I know that GJ went over there, man. But what was the final decision that made you go over there?
I mean, honestly, I was looking at a couple of schools. I was talking to Old Dominion. I was talking to Ball
Mm-hmm.
State. So, I mean, I was talking to a couple of schools. He had hit me up and he told me to come to a practice and stuff, watch them practice, and it was just love. It was just love when I
Right.
first got there. Like I knew the whole staff. I'm a senior. It's my last year. Like I got to make the
Right.
most out of it. I know the defense, so like it was really the only logical decision to make. Like why
Right.
go somewhere? Why go somewhere
Yep.
where they really don't know me when I could go
Mm-hmm.
down the road from UIW, San Antonio to San Marcos, which is only 40 minutes. Just go
Right.
down the road, still be in Texas, still be close to home, and know the
Mm-hmm.
playbook and the coaching staff. Like, bro, everything was just adding up. Like,
Well, shoot, man. It made sense to me because you end up starting, man. You end up doing your thing, killing it. Like you said, y'all made it to the first bowl game. Just what was the overall experience like, man? Knowing, so it's two things. You have the college experience, your first 4 years, but then your last year, you go into Texas State. So I know mentally, from a mental standpoint, I'm trying to get down to business because I'm trying to get to this league. What's that like, man? What's that experience like after you transition, man? You go to the next school. You're there. You know that your end goal is trying to get to that NFL. How does that mentality switch?
like that feeling when you change the scenery, like a whole different level
Yeah,
of
yeah.
motivation comes up. I mean, that's
Uh-huh.
kind of what it felt like just going there and like I said, like I was at UIW, we were a little lower level D1, so the type of stuff we had at Texas State, we ain't had UIW, so like the thing I would say is like doing 4 years at UIW and then going to Texas State and then being treated like that, seeing how much fan support you get, how much better the equipment or the locker rooms are, and all this stuff. Like it just really puts in perspective how big of a blessing it is because we're at UIW with wooden lockers and stuff, and still handling business. Like it didn't even
Yep,
matter. Like we
yep,
gonna handle business.
yep.
So like I get there, I'm like, bro, we got crazy talent, we got crazy support. Like
Mm-hmm.
Texas State probably has one of the best support systems in Texas college
Mm-hmm.
football. I was like, bro, literally anything is possible here if you just sit there, grind, and work. So, I mean,
Right.
just getting there, but I
Yep.
loved it. Like, I loved everything about it. My best friend was my other safety. So, like, every day, wake up, work. You get an
Right.
apartment, you get a stipend. Like, you gotta understand,
Mm-hmm.
it's a blessing. Like, once all is said and done, and you just out in the real world on your own, and you gotta figure out
Uh-huh.
work. You gotta figure out where you're gonna get your meals. You gotta figure out where
Yeah.
you're gonna get paid. Like that's when it's gonna hit you. But
Yep.
while you there, like you need to understand how much you're blessed and how much like other people would die to be in your position. So I mean, being able to do that, bro, hey, it was lit.
That's good, man. All right, so let's get into it. All right. The NIL. Let's talk about it. Okay. So I know
Hmm.
everybody thinks that you're gonna be a millionaire. Everybody thinks that they have value. Here's the one thing I tell people all the time, and I try to make it clear to high school players. Y'all really ain't got as much value as you think. You are a high school athlete, dog. People don't really know who you are. All right, so now let's get to it, man. You just getting out of the game, or the college game. What is the NIL space like, man? What is it really like? Are people really getting paid like that? How many people on the team are really getting paid like that? What's the real breakdown?
I mean, people getting paid for sure. People are
Yep.
getting paid, but you got to be careful and you got to ask questions. Is what I will say without making it sound crazy bad or anything like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
you gotta obviously know, and you gotta be ready to have those uncomfortable conversations because I mean, like me, like I don't come from a rich background, so even
Right.
hearing you're gonna get paid some money, I'm like, let's go, like what I'm
Right.
saying, where I need to be,
Yep.
what I need to wear, what I'm saying. So
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
but if you're a guy who wants to continue to increase your NIL value and get as many opportunities as you can. You got to ask questions, and sometimes it goes beyond the head coach. Like you can't just rely on your head coach to give you those opportunities. You got to go to donors. You got to walk around, promote yourself. You got to paint a positive image of yourself. You feel
Mm-hmm.
me? Because
Yep.
like people might say, oh, the best guys aren't getting the NIL deals. How is this guy getting an NIL deal, but this guy's not? It's because this guy's promoting himself in a good way versus the other guy who's just sitting on the couch. I mean, he making plays for sure, but I mean, he ain't going out there putting his face in front of cameras, being vocal. Like my friend Christian Rory, he used to walk around the square promoting the idea, walk around downtown
Yep.
San
Yep.
Marcos promoting his brand. So I mean, it's just things like that. Like you gotta be able to put your foot in the door. And I mean, a lot of NIL is real, and a lot of guys are getting paid real money.
Yep.
So I mean, that's his facts. But I mean, as a freshman, there's a lot of guys on the team who are staying down, trying to get that opportunity. So I feel like as a freshman, you shouldn't be too worried about going in there and getting an NIL deal off rip, but mainly worrying about, making that transition from high school to college. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you're just worried about that other stuff, you're deducting on the main thing. Because at the end of the day, you gotta keep the main thing the main thing.
Right. Exactly. Well, shoot, man, that's good. So look, let's end it with this. I know that you got to get off here pretty soon. All right. So we're gonna close it out. This has been good. We could talk for a whole hour because I got a whole load of questions I can ask you. All right. So look, if you could do it all over again and you could go back to yourself when you were back at Nolan making a college decision, what would you tell yourself now? What would be like, hey man, look, don't matter at the end of the day. That's nice and it looks good, but that ain't gonna help you in the long run. What would you tell yourself now? What advice would you give yourself, knowing what you know now that you've finished the college experience?
The advice I would give myself is everything you put in, you get out. Plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, stay down, be patient, and work. Cause I mean that eventually is gonna come to light. And I wish I would have knew that my first couple of years. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until like the end of my sophomore year, my junior year.
Yeah.
Cause I done started, I done been benched, I done been third string, I done been special teams. Like
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I done did all that. But at the end of the day, the equalizer is effort. It's effort and work. So I mean, as
Right.
long as you go in there and you working and every day after every workout, like you left everything out there, you honestly you can't feel, what I'm saying, any type of way with yourself or what you got going on. The only type of resentment you're gonna hold is if you're not handling your business and maxing your opportunity. So I mean, what I would tell myself is just stay down. The work will prevail. That's really it.
Love it, man. Well, we're gonna end it on that, man. I appreciate it. We're gonna, like I told you, we're gonna be quick. I think this was good. I think it's gonna help some people. You were the first one on the Players Circle episode, man. So congratulations on that.
Yes,
And man, we'll talk
sir.
more. Turn yourself into a professional football player, big dog. All right.
You already know it, coach.
And I appreciate it, man. This is first episode of Players Circle, man. See y'all soon.